Hello, and welcome to my video on how to significantly increase emergency department patient volume in your hospital. In this video, I'm going to show you how we've added almost $300 million in additional patient revenue to our client hospital emergency departments over the last 4 years. I'm going to cover some preconceived and incorrect notions that are prevalent in this industry, show you how your ED volume actually can be increased despite beliefs otherwise, and I will also talk about making sure you're doing it the right way and not violating any of the laws that govern our industry. I'm Christopher Webb, and I'm the author of the book Marketing 911, the developer behind the EmergiTrack and Engage software platforms, and co-president and managing partner of Engage Healthcare Marketing, a healthcare marketing company that focuses on not only bringing in more patients, but bringing in more of the right kind of patients into our client hospital EDs through the EMS system and the various sources of patient referrals that can exist in a market. To start off our discussion, I want to talk about the patients that come into our hospitals from the EMS system. The most obvious parts of our EMS system are the fire departments and private ambulance companies. These agencies are responsible for bringing sick and injured people from the community into our hospitals, and the majority of our patients will come into our ED from this portion of the EMS system. However, the EMS system is bigger than that. It also includes local police, prison healthcare workers, urgent cares in the area, physicians' offices, and much more. Emergencies can happen anywhere and under many different circumstances. So focusing only on fire departments and ambulance companies can result in the old cliche of leaving money on the table. When it comes to local fire departments and EMS agencies, there is a common misconception that I want to clear up right now. For one reason or another, there is a belief in the hospital industry that fire departments and ambulance providers always take their patients to the closest facility for treatment. This couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, in 2012, we surveyed hundreds of EMTs, paramedics, and fire personnel and asked them a few simple questions. The first of these questions was, do you have hospitals that you prefer to take your patients to? As you can see from the results of the survey, 96% of our respondents indicated that they do have a preference when it comes to what hospitals they take their patients to. So, the reality is that not all hospitals are created equal in the eyes of our EMS partners. If we lived in a world where patients had to be delivered to the closest facility, this may not matter much. But in a world where patients and our EMS providers have a choice, this could have huge implications. To dig further, we asked another question in our survey. We asked our respondents to tell us their level of agreement with the following statement. When I'm in the ED, the hospital staff is welcoming and appreciates the patient we brought to them. As you can see from our responses, only 27% of our respondents indicated that the hospitals they take their patients to are appreciative of the business these EMS professionals are bringing in. Again, in a world where nobody had a choice where a patient was delivered to, this might not be a problem. But in a world where people do have a choice, this is a cause for concern, and it shows that our EMS professionals are extremely dissatisfied with the reception they're getting in the ED. Now let's face it, in any other industry, if only 27% of our customers felt like we appreciated their business, we'd be out of business. Our saving grace in the hospital industry is that hospitals are normally a limited resource, and we can get away with our customers not always being completely satisfied. But the real question is, if our customers were satisfied, how much more business could we bring in? The next question we asked our EMS professionals was this: how often do you assist a patient in choosing the hospital they go to? This question is the most important because it gives us an idea of just how big our market is and what sort of influence we can have on our patient volume. We asked our respondents that when their patient was not suffering from a specific illness or injury that had to be transported to a facility out of protocol, how often did they help the patient decide? As you can see from this chart, our respondents indicated that 96% of the time, they sometimes at least help the patient choose. Also surprising is that 69% said that they often or always help patients decide where to go. The prevailing assumption in this industry is that patients are always delivered to the closest facility. However, there are some major problems with this assumption. First, patients always have a right to choose where they go, so long as their illness or injury doesn't fall into a category that is driven by protocol. What does that mean? It means that if a patient isn't suffering from a heart attack, stroke, severe burn, or other serious illness, specialty illness, or injury, then the protocol aspect of the patient delivery doesn't apply. These sick and severely injured people must go to the closest facility that can provide the level of care needed. For everyone else, however, the patient has a choice. And when the patient has a choice, our EMS professionals are frequently helping those patients decide what hospital to go to. The second assumption is based on the first, and that is the assumption that we're getting all the patients we can already because patients have to go to the nearest facility. Now you know that isn't the case. 4 years ago, Engage developed a software designed to intelligently track hospital ED volume from the EMS system and other patient referral sources. We take data that doesn't exist in hospital EMR systems, and from it, our software provides real-time analysis and data that helps us devise the right strategies for your hospital. We now have 5 years of development and over $300,000 invested in this software, and it is by far the biggest contributor to our success in driving ED volume. Utilizing this software and our EMS outreach coordinators on the ground, we've developed a program that generates between 10 and 20% ED volume growth in less than a year, with some of our hospitals achieving growth results much higher. You may think your hospital already tracks EMS runs and patients, but let me ask you this. When patients are registered into your EMR, do they always have the correct mode of arrival? We've seen that most times the mode of arrival is incorrect for 10 to 25% of patients that come into your ED. When your systems tell you that patients brought in by an ambulance are up by 4%, what it doesn't tell you is that patients brought in from ABC ambulance are up 8%, but patients brought in from XYZ ambulance are actually down 4%. Furthermore, if patient volume is down from XYZ ambulance by 4%, how can you determine why and who's responsible for these patient downturns? Wouldn't it be useful to know that XYZ ambulance station 12 is responsible for the downturn? Wouldn't it be useful to know that B shift out of station 12 is where most of this is occurring? And wouldn't it be even better if we knew that XYZ ambulance paramedic Stacy Myers on B shift at station 12 was responsible for most of the patient downturn at our facility? In a given market, there are normally hundreds of EMTs and paramedics that could potentially bring patients into your ED. That makes seeing each and every one of them an impossibility. As a result, marketing and business development professionals have taken somewhat of a shotgun approach to marketing outside the facility, taking donuts and other goodies to area providers in hopes it will impact patient growth. There are two problems here. The first problem is a big one. Because our industry is highly regulated and subject to strict governmental guidelines, giving people something of value in exchange for patient referrals is against the law, and rightly so. The OIG and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have made it very clear. Anything in excess of $10 per occurrence or $50 in a calendar year is considered in excess of their definition of nominal, and thus would constitute a violation of anti-kickback statutes in place to prevent companies from effectively buying patients. At Engage, we use data alongside EMS liaisons in the field to develop tailored marketing strategies designed to target the individual. This is just the tip of the iceberg in regards to what we do at Engage to increase ED volume. To get the whole story, contact us today to schedule a 30-minute WebEx presentation where you will learn just how we've added over $300 million in patient revenue for our clients.